For a man must wait for the fulfillment of an expectation, but he does not need to wait for the benefit of the suffering if he does not then demand to see it, which is the imperfect, but is willing to believe that this may take place at once. Therefore, the belief that the heavy suffering is profitable is also something far more perfect than the expectation of a happy outcome. For the fortunate outcome may disappoint, but the believer believes that the suffering is profitable to him. So then the benefit cannot fail to appear when it is. The believer apprehends humanly how heavy the suffering is, but with the wonder of faith over its being profitable to him, he says devoutly, "It is light." Humanly he says, "It is impossible," but he says it again with the wonder of faith over the fact that it is profitable to him, which humanly he cannot understand. That is, if his intelligence can perceive the benefit, his faith cannot see God. But when human wisdom cannot see a hand's breadth before it in the dark night of suffering, then faith can see God, for faith sees best in the dark. When worldly wisdom comforts a sufferer, it does it in this way. It says, "Sometime it will probably be good and profitable." However, worldly wisdom seizes on this moment to leave. It is as when a doctor visits the sick and says, "Presently," and then goes away, so the sick man can never get hold of the doctor and pin him down through his words as a deceiver, for the doctor has slipped away. But when faith consoles a sufferer, then it sits down by him and says, "The suffering is profitable to you, only believe that." This is something which is immediately understood of faith. I shall therefore willingly remain with you, so that you may vent your wrath on me if I speak falsely. For I need no time for running, as if I ran in the uncertain. I need no time for running away, as if I were a deceiver. No, it is profitable to you. Let but the suffering increase. It is profitable to you. The profitable is as I am, faith. Thus the advantage is for faith, and the advantage is even when the faith is tempted. When it is as if faith did not find grace before God, as if it only excited him into making the test greater and greater, the greater the faith, so that the believer is in despondency, as if he ought to regret his faith. As if that one were fortunate who lives on in indifference and never really has anything to do with God, but walks comfortably on the broad way, or admired on the highly commended middle way, and never presses forward under the yoke on the narrow way of faith. Still, whoever lives in this way, whatever else he may be, he is no Christian, for the yoke is easy for the Christian. It is, he believes that. One man bears an iron yoke, another a wooden yoke, a third a golden yoke, a fourth the heavy yoke, but only the Christian bears the easy yoke. My burden is light. What is meekness other than bearing the heavy burden lightly, as impatience and moroseness means bearing the light burden heavily? There is in the language a glorious word, which readily adapts itself in many connections, but never adapts itself inwardly in any connection except with the good. It is the word courage. Wherever there is good, there courage is also present. Whatever befalls the good, courage is always on the side of the good. The good is always brave, only the evil is cowardly and timorous, and the devil always trembles. Such is this strong word which never turns its back to danger, but always faces it, proud in itself, and yet so flexible when it is proper, although in the inward sense, to conform to the diversity of the good. Thus this strong word is so repellent toward all evil, but so steadfast in harmony with the diversity of the good. There is courage which bravely defies dangers. There is magnanimity which proudly elevates itself above injuries. There is patience which patiently bears sufferings. But the courage referred to which bears the heavy lightly, is the most wonderful combination. For it is not wonderful to handle roughly and with an iron strength the hardest of all, but it is wonderful with an iron strength to be able to handle gently the weakest of all, or to handle the heavy easily. Christ requires meekness of his followers. Learn of me, for I am meek and lowly of heart. He was meek. He bore lightly indeed the heavy burdens which far exceeded human strength, the strength of the race. But when he, at the same time that he is himself bearing the heaviest burdens, has time and willingness and sympathy and self-sacrifice to concern himself continuously about others, to help others, to heal the sick, to visit the wretched, to save the despairing, does he then not bear the burden lightly? He bore the heaviest anxiety, the concern for the fallen race, but he bore it so lightly that he did not extinguish the smoking flax or break the bruised reed.